Discipline is simpler than you think. Hi, my name is Christina Garidi from Eudaimonia Coaching, and today's topic is about how to crack discipline to one single concept that can actually help you become more disciplined. A lot of my clients struggle with this, so let's simplify it for you. Discipline. It took me years to understand it and even more, love it. I wholeheartedly believe that I survived 2020 and the pandemic because I discovered the power of discipline. I see it as a rhythm, as a cadence that never ever fails me. Discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want most. It is the birthplace of motivation and the cornerstone to a eudaimonic life. Now, discipline comes down to one single concept, and this is integrity. I did not know this until recently, but basically, discipline comes down to how good we are at keeping our word. Or, in other words, how we lie to ourselves. It's okay, by the way, don't use this to judge yourself or anything. Please be gentle with yourself because it's a process. Think of it as a dance. There's a back and forth to it. So my coach recommended I watch a seminar from Mark Steinberg, and in this seminar he actually explains that our mind is really limited in terms of its willpower. Give it one thing to focus and give it another thing and poof, it overloads, okay? So the rest really depends on our subconscious. But why am I telling you this? Our subconscious has the ability to run our lives without us even being aware of it. So we breathe, our heart beats and so on without us even being aware of it. And the subconscious apparently registers the promises we keep and the promises we break, regardless of whether they're small or big, they're important or not, or they are to others or to ourselves. It doesn't care about any of that. All it does is it registers how many promises we kept and how many we broke, regardless of the content. So imagine now this in terms of how the subconscious determines whether we can trust ourselves or not, whether we are integral, and imagine the impact of that on our confidence. We're not going to go there today, but let's come back to the promise I gave you at the very beginning on how I can help you with one single concept, the one of integrity, to become more disciplined. So here are the steps. Step number 1, decide what you want to keep your promise for. So make sure it's very simple. It's a very, very simple promise that at the end of the day, you can be honest with yourself to say whether you kept it or not. So it may be that every day I meditate for 5 minutes. It's not about whether you meditated. It's not about whether you meditated 3 minutes. It's about whether you meditated 5 minutes. Yes or no. The answer has to be very simple and clear at the end of the day. Now, number 2, don't just change one thing. If you want to create a transformation, create a change, and you want to be disciplined in general, it would help if you change the ecosystem of habits. So for example, I need to stop eating sweets. Now, if I can really get everybody in my family to stop eating sweets, that will be much, much more helpful than, just trying to do this on my own. And that brings me to step number 3, which is whatever you do, especially if it's a discipline matter, if you can do it with others that can keep you accountable in the process, then go for it. Because first of all, it's much more social, and then you can really get the motivation of others, or you may be the one motivating others, but also on days that you don't have the motivation to keep discipline, they can drag you along, and that's very, very helpful. And, it's very helpful if those buddies are willing and open to keep you accountable, to keep you integral, and check with you on whether you have been integral and disciplined. So, for example, for me, my coach keeps me accountable and integral every other week. And hey, my integrity score is not always 100%, but at least I am learning and I'm practicing to be honest with myself on whether I kept my promises or not. And that's all you need to do to get started to be more disciplined immediately. And step number 4, link your promise to pleasure or punishment, depending on what works for you. Most of my clients link it to rewards that they actually want to enjoy if they have been disciplined. But I'll give you an example of how shame has worked for me. So while I was running my program, my Flourish program on how to find purpose, I promised the group that I would exercise 3 times a week. And I linked it to, if I don't do that, then the consequence would be that I would have to go out publicly and declare that I love Bojo out of context with no explanation. Bojo is Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister of the UK at the moment. So it's surprising, it was a joke, but it's surprising how well it worked for me. I actually did work out 3 times a week for 10 weeks without a blink in the eye. I just had to do it because the consequence was going to be that I had to publicly declare that I love Bojo, and I don't want to do that. So that was how shame can actually work, or reward in your case if you choose to, in order to be disciplined. So here are some of the steps. I hope that we simplified discipline to one single concept, which is integrity, how good you are at keeping your promises or not. Hope that helped, and let me know if you've got any questions. Take good care. Bye.